I'm Amit Patel. I'm one of the senior environmental managers at WinVIC. There's two things that I was interested, so artificial intelligence and sustainability. And the reason I didn't do AI was I sort of ditched that and then I went into the environment and sustainability.
Right. So how was things then kind of growing up for you? At what point did you decide, do you know, I quite like the environment?
I think it must have been when I was doing my I was like, right, I'm going to do the non-traditional Indian thing. Not do IT, not do accountant, not become a doctor or a dentist. Go sort of proper left field. There's quite a lot of things that I've probably done that has had an impact. Collaboration is key for success. Go with your heart's desire. Don't worry about it. If you don't do it, you'll regret it. So just go with it and try it. If you don't try it, you won't know. So the myth for me is...
Hi, and welcome to this next series of Thriving Construction with Darren Evans. Today, our guest is Amit Patel. Amit, thank you for coming on the podcast. Honoured to have you here.
No, thank you for having me, Darren. Looking forward to it.
Me too. So there's lots of people here that are listening and are watching that have either never heard of you before or have never seen you. So can you just help the listeners understand what it is that you do and who you work for?
So I'm Amit Patel. I'm one of the senior environmental managers at WinVIC. So predominantly focusing on the environmental side for the business. So compliance, bids, tenders, making sure how we can enhance where we work, and at the same time making sure we don't impact the local area as well. So that's in a nutshell what I do. The list is endless. So
that's the thing, in that when this is your job title, and then this is actually what you do. The two don't always correlate and correspond.
They don't.
How did you get into the industry then?
So I did an undergrad at university. Got my degree and everything, but before that, I was looking at what the market was, and there's two things that I was interested. So artificial intelligence and sustainability. And back then the boom wasn't there. It had just started, the whole environment and sustainability agenda.
So just time-wise, just for those people that are listening and can't see or make a guess how old you are. So AI, for most people, is kind of a very recent thing.
Yeah.
So you're going back, when you're looking at this interest that you've got, what stage was this?
Probably around 16 years ago.
16 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
16, 17 years ago.
So that's going to be a revelation for lots of people that AI was a thing 16 years ago.
Yeah. It was there. Yeah. And the reason I didn't do AI was I had to do further maths. And I hated further maths. I just hate maths, full stop. So I sort of ditched that. And then I went into the environment and sustainability. Right. And then
Which even 10 years ago was very much in its infancy, wasn't it?
It was. And
it sounds bizarre to say that, doesn't it?
It is. It is very bizarre because everyone thinks it's the new sort of trend, but it wasn't. The buzzword was, I can't even remember, the buzzword was something different, as opposed to now, which is ESG. It was corporate social responsibility back in the days, and environment sort of sat within that.
That's right.
And now it's sustainability, and now it's more than ESG, so environment and social governance. So it's evolved over the years. So when I was at university, it was just coming through. And then when I graduated, I applied for God knows how many jobs and everything, and they all said you need a master's. So I did my undergrad in Manchester, came to London, did my master's, opened a lot more doors, and then I started at a company called a consultancy, MWH, which I think is called Stantec now, for 3 years. And then
London based?
No, that was High Wycombe.
Okay,
so not far from London. So because I specialised my masters in contaminated land, so I worked on former gas works and all sorts, doing site investigations, and then recession hit, got made redundant. I sat around for a couple of months because I've got some money.
Oh, you got
I got made.
payoff.
Yeah, I got a redundancy payoff. Yeah.
How did that land with you though? Being made redundant, lots of people.
I remember the director got redundant, and they've kept it streamlined. And it was quite ironic because when I started at Galliford's, I met him on one of the water frameworks that we were working on.
Okay.
So it was like quite interesting, sort of meeting him and just having a conversation.
Yeah.
So how I got here. So then, I must have applied for a couple of months, and then got an interview with Galliford Try, and then ever since then.
So Galliford Try now called Countryside.
So what happened was Galliford Try. I was up until the demerger. When the demerger happened, I specifically looked after just the partnership side, which was obviously bought by Bovis and rebadged as, or renamed as Vistry Partnerships, which I think now is called Countryside Partnerships.
And that didn't last for long, did it? Vistry didn't really last for long.
No, Vistry didn't. I think they've still got the Vistry group, but now Vistry Partnerships. So I think I think Galliford's must have been 9 years and a year and a half to 2 years at Vistry.
Okay.
And coming to 2 years here at WinVIC.
Good. And things are going well for you at WinVIC.
Yeah. I enjoy what I do, enjoy people I work with, which is the main thing for me.
Good. What is it about WinVIC that stands out to you as the organisation?
It's family orientated, which is
family owned, isn't it?
It's family owned, yeah. So it's family owned. They're 4 owners, and it's a good place to work with. People, very close knit, and things do get resolved in an efficient manner if there are concerns. So that's always quite reassuring.
That's good. Yeah, I've heard lots of good things about WinVIC.
That's positive. That is positive.
If I've heard good things, then it must be true.
It is. No. It is a great place to work. It is a great place to work.
That's good. Well, let's go back to kind of pre-university. What was life like for you growing up?
It was good.
Were you brought up in London?
Yeah, I lived in where I live. My parents live in Wembley, and I literally live around the corner from them. So, been grown up there.
Yeah. So for me, not living in London, every time someone says Wembley, I just think of the stadium.
That's exactly where I live. Yeah, not far from there. 10, 15-minute walk from the stadium.
And every time I go to Wembley to watch any event there, and sometimes concerts or football, I like football a lot. But when I go to watch it, I think the residents must just absolutely pull their hair out.
Yeah.
The whole... Just the noise, the volume, the litter, the police around. What was it like living in Wembley?
Over the years, it's evolved, the whole Wembley, the regeneration of the whole area and what they've done.
With the retail park and everything.
Retail park, the flats and the box parks and everything else. They spent a lot of time and money regenerating the whole area. And obviously with the stadium, the rebuild of it, they've... enhance that experience for whoever goes there, whether it be for football, concerts or anything else. And I think as part of that, they've built the infrastructure and the people around it to make sure, right, let's clear up litters, noise. I think there's a certain cut-off point of when you can't make any noise, dispersing all the fans or whatever, the amount of police. And I think it's opened the whole area up. So, yes, it's not as bad. Yeah, it's a benefit. Yeah. And where I live, you've got to have a pass to park on the road on event days. Otherwise, usually it's free day to day, but on events, it's you've got to have a pass. Otherwise, you get a ticket.
So, growing up in Wembley, did that lead you to, around football? Did you play football lots? Was life mainly outdoors for you?
It was a bit of both. Outdoors. My mum used to just send me on trips and that because she couldn't drive. So she
trips, as in like school trips?
School trips, and made me do like gymnastics, swimming, and everything. And then as I grew older, my dad took me to the shop. So I'd help him at the shop doing the Saturday and Sunday newspapers, putting the leaflets in and everything else, which I hated. But it's made me appreciate value for money.
Okay.
And also, I would speak to people, different people every day, converse with them. So it helped me build my confidence and how I talk and approach people. So yes, as much as I hated it, it's given me life skills to be where I am at the moment, and to be the person I am. So I can't forget those childhood moments. It was always quite good.
So your dad is a shop owner, or was a shop
No,
owner?
was a shop owner, yeah.
And is it kind of a newsagent kind of convenience / convenience store?
But it wasn't a corner shop. Not the stereotype as most people think is Indians have a corner shop. This one wasn't. Okay. It was in Marylebone High Street. Okay. So in central London. Okay. So we would take the car in the morning, lift the bundles of the newspapers that would come. Yeah. Cut the ties off, get all the cuts and bruises and everything that goes with it, the black ink. Yeah. And then once I'd done all of that, I would go downstairs, sit down, do work if I had homework to do. And there was a bookshop downstairs, so I would go pick a book and read one of the books and that. And then when it was time to go, right, let's go. Yeah. And then towards the latter, when I got a bit more older, I just used to tell my dad, "You go home, I'll run it with the staff." Yeah, so he had not respect is the wrong word, trust in me to run it. Good. So he could do what he wanted, go relax or go to a function or something that he had to go to.
And that would have been built up over time though, right?
Yeah, that was always over time.
So parents, did they come across to the UK from India?
Yes.
Or was it your grandparents?
No, so my mum is born and bred, or was born in Fiji. Okay. And when the coup happened, the family moved to India. Okay. So my dad, when the coup happened in Africa, moved to India, and then they both moved to the UK, and they got a family intro, and then they got married. So
your parents' ancestry, so your mum's ancestry is Fijian?
Yes.
And your father's ancestry is?
From Africa.
Yeah, where?
I know, and I'm trying to figure, he's going to shoot me for this. Nairobi.
Okay. Okay, great. And have you been to either country?
Yes, I've been Fiji. So I went to go see the plaque that my mum's her grandfather put up. Okay. So there's a little plaque which has the family name, and this park was in memorial of, or built under his name. So it was quite interesting to see, and went to see the hospital that my mum was born at as well. So it was quite good.
You've got rich ancestry. This is fantastic. How does that show up then in your family dynamic? How does it show up in the food that you eat?
No,
I love food.
No, I do you know what? I love food as well. You can't go wrong with it. So both my mum and dad are vegetarian. They're not meat eaters. I enjoy meat. I enjoy seafood. But it's traditional Indian cuisine. There's no sort of... The only thing, I take that back, the only Fijian food is, they call it a dalo. And I've forgotten what you call. I think it's called cassava. Okay. And there's another root vegetable as well. And my mum's brother always gets it. And when he gets it, he says, "Look, come here, have it with a bit of Worcester sauce and an egg." And it's so nice.
I've not got any contacts in Fiji, but a very, very good friend of mine is from Samoa. Yeah. And there's something that they do in Samoa, which is called an umu. And it's a way and a method of cooking. Yeah. And what they do is they get loads and loads of stones, and they put them around this big circle. They put loads of wood and like fire accelerants on top. Yeah. Once the fire's kind of died down somewhat, they then get the food, so it's vegetables and meats or fish or whatever it is that they're cooking, put that on the top of the stones, then cover it with cardboard and with almost like the corrugated iron roofing.
Yeah.
Put that on the top, leave that on there for probably about 2 to 3 hours, and then when that comes off,
sounds so appetizing.
It's so good. It's just, it's wonderful. I love how the islanders just make their food. Then they'd come together as family. That kind of sense of community over there is still alive and kicking. I love it.
No, I love food. I just love food. That's how, for me and my wife, is we love food. We like going different places and trying new things. So we actually went to Fiji, me and my wife, for our honeymoon.
Okay.
And we did our registry out in Fiji.
Did you?
Yeah, we did it on one of the islands out there.
It's beautiful.
Castaway Island.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, not the Castaway movie island, which we went to go see, which was filmed out in Fiji. So you can see the little ball with Wilson in the cave and saying help on the sand. But this was another Castaway Island where we got our registry done. So it was quite good with the locals and trying the local food out on the islands, because it's all literally fish. So it was really nice.
So how was things then kind of growing up for you? At what point did you decide, I quite like the environment, the physical environment is important to me?
I think it must have been when I was doing my A-levels. So one of my A-levels that I did was geography. And just learning about the earth and human interactions, what we do, physical geography, and just that sort of opened it up for me. And I was like, this looks quite interesting. And then when I had to think about where I wanted to go, I was like, right, I'm going to do the non-traditional Indian thing. Not do IT, not do accountant, become a doctor or a dentist. Go sort of proper left field.
What was your parents' reaction to that? Because the stereotypical Indian, as I understand it, is that parents are very clear in their mind of what success looks like for their children.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It was convincing them, like, look, I want to do this. I don't enjoy being an accountant. I don't want to do doctor, dentist, because I didn't take the right A-levels. I want to do something a bit more, not the norm. And they're like, fine. They supported me with the decision. So
much did it take you long to persuade them?
Probably, it's gone that far along. It probably did. A lot of toing and froing and speaking to the cousins and everything.
Oh, it's a family affair.
Yeah, so I would have to, like, my cousins were like, what do you want to do, and this and that. And most of my cousins are all accountants, or they've done finance-related degrees and that. Whereas I'm probably not the norm.
So where do you think that comes from in terms of that stereotype? Why do you think it is that typically people from India, when they've come to the UK, why they've kind of gone into those types of roles? Why is that seen as successful?
I think it's because the hardship that, like, my parents have gone through, like going through like hard labour work, like running your newsagents wasn't easy. It's very backbreaking. And the sort of mentality is, well, you can do a job where you don't have to do that. We've done all of that and sacrificed, so you don't have to do that. Do a job that gives you that flexibility, that you don't have to do backbreaking stuff, that you can go on holidays. I probably went on 1 or 2 holidays with my parents as a child. Otherwise, it will be right. You're going to India, go see your cousin there, but you go with an air hostess by yourself. I've done that. Yeah. So
it was a young child. How old were you then?
10, 11, teens maybe.
Do you see it as an adventure?
Yeah, loved it. Loved it.
No mum and dad.
No mum and dad.
TV to myself.
Yeah, exactly. The air hostess would take the passport from me and made sure I got to the other side safely. So it was quite good. I
mean, I guess the downside of that, then, just thinking from my point of view with my children, so we've spent quite a bit of time doing holidays in various places, and we have got fantastic memories as a family, going away and eating out together and playing in pools or in the sea or on the beach, or just going to museums or to aquariums and all those different things, and even like car journeys places, and just loads and loads of memories surrounding that. So I guess from your parents' point of view, it sounds like they wanted you to have those types of experiences with your kids, because it must have been hard for them not to be able to go off and have holidays with you.
I think it was difficult, and back in those days, the value for money was much more expensive as opposed to what it is now.
Travel was more expensive.
Yeah, so it wasn't the norm, and Dad was always at the shop, and Mum would be like doing all these activities, and if it was holiday, then it would be Mum that would come. Dad never came. I think it's only up until recently that I've probably taken Dad on holiday, because he's retired, and I'm trying to organise a family one with my mum and dad, with our kids, to go as a family on holiday. But they're at an age, I think, my dad's 70, mum's 69, so they're not spring chickens. So I've got to think somewhere quite close. So they have memories of a holiday. They see my two daughters every other day or every day, depending on when they want to see them after school and that. So they build their memories.
So you're bucking the trend now. You're thinking, I'm going to go and do something different. You've convinced your parents. You've spoken to cousins and other family members. You've got your support. Why the environment?
I think, as I said earlier, I think it was like one of the up and coming trends. And I was like, well, it looks interesting. I did my research. I was like, yeah, this course looks quite good. I'm going to enjoy it. So I took the punt. I knew there were jobs out there. So I took a dive and went for it. I just went for it. Did my undergrad, and then, when you apply for the jobs and when they say you need experience, it was back in my head, well, can't you give me experience?
How am I going to get experience unless someone gives me experience?
And that's the
chicken
thing.
and the egg,
exactly. And that's what I always found. It was that either don't have experience or you get a master's. So I said, right, I'm going to bite the bullet. I'll do another year, come back home and do my master's. And then the master's, I've done that, and then That opened up the doors. That opened the doors, That opened a lot of doors.
And then, so since you've been in the industry working, what types of things have you been involved with that you're like, you know what, this has really made an impact? I'm really glad that I've been part of this.
There's quite a lot of things that I've probably done that has had an impact. I'm on a leadership course at the moment at my current employer, and it's a different group to my normal group that I'm in, and we were just talking. I haven't met this individual for probably 5-6 years, and he sort of said, I remember you. I was like, okay, where do you remember me from? I was like, I remember from that Galliford Try job that we had in Solihull. I was like, okay. I was like, what do you remember? He was like, you told me about cable tie and putting it under the taps, the percussion taps, to stop more water being wasted. And that sort of resonated to me. I was like, well, I've had an impact on someone. And I've had a few of those moments across my career. Project-wise, there's so many. Working with the local residents, enhancing the biodiversity where we can, affecting watercourses, trying new technology, and all of that is probably the various things that I've probably done in Galliford's and currently here at WinVIC.
So you can have impact in lots of different ways in people's lives and within sustainability or within construction or within anything. But is there anything specifically about biodiversity that really kind of lights your fire?
I think biodiversity is one of those that, yes, you can enhance nature and bring all of that, but also individuals, people. If there's like greenery and all of that, it's a nice tranquil place that people can just go and just switch off. That's what I try to find, like biodiversity. Again, yeah, you can put bird boxes on, but it's a bit more than that. It's like wild flower seeding, or having like a whole open area, country park dedicated to it.
So
Woodlands.
Something greater here than just ticking a box to say, I've done this. Biodiversity box ticked. You're talking about a different way of seeing nature. Is that
exactly right? It's like mental health and all of that type of stuff, because nature can help all of that. It can even, depending on how you develop an area, you can have like kids play area that has biodiversity enhanced within it, in some of the activities, the mounds that might be there with the seeds that might be there. So it's how you, placemaking is probably the right terminology of how you deal placemaking and biodiversity probably go hand in hand quite well. And I think one project that I went to see was the one in Elephant and Castle.
Okay, what happened there?
They've done like this whole nice walkway, which has got everything biodiversity, loads of trees, seating area, and they've got this tree house, which is literally a tree, and they've sort of worked within the tree root protection zone and everything, and made it like a communal area for the residents.
Oh, right.
So
you can actually go in and
you can use the facilities, the cafe and everything else. So it was really nice. And just walking from Elephant and Castle Station to this area, you've got all the trees that are probably retained from the existing area. And it just felt peaceful and tranquil, even though you've got like tower cranes all around the area. It felt really peaceful and tranquil. So you tick that biodiversity net gain.
But you actually make a difference to the person as well, right?
Person as well.
And that's just having me think about a concept that I learned about, probably about 4 or 5 years ago, which is biophilia.
Okay.
Heard of biophilia before?
No, I've never come across
that.
Biophilia
is the study of the connection between human well-being and nature. So when we look outside at something and it's man-made, so that could be a man-made wooden fence panel or a concrete thing or another building or a car or whatever, we have a different reaction than if we look outside and look at something which is live and which something is being created naturally, a plant or a bird or maybe even a fish in a fish tank, that has a direct impact on our mental state, our sense of well-being, and also our ability to learn. You hadn't heard of that before, no?
No, I hadn't, but
have a look.
I will. Yeah, I will.
Like and to me that makes sense. It's like, well, yeah, when I'm with my dog, I love my dog. Dog's great.
Yeah, I love dogs.
When I'm in my garden, when I say to my kids all the time, I'm like, I would love to live in a place where I've just got acres and acres of land, keep a couple of animals. I would be in my element there. Put me in a tower block and give me a balcony. Not really interested in that.
I probably agree with you there, because I like gardening. I love gardening, and every year I grow tomatoes, cauliflower, courgettes in the garden. I've got a strawberry patch. I love it.
It's great, isn't it? That sense of connecting with another living thing.
I agree. And then I get my daughter. She knows every year, my oldest daughter, she was like, right, strawberry picking. Yep, let's go. And she likes picking tomatoes and that. So it's bringing her along the journey as well and being like, look, this is what nature has to offer. And she loves it. She loves it. And she was like, Daddy, is that a yellow tomato? I'm like, yes, that is a yellow tomato. So she enjoys it, whereas if it was a tower block on a balcony, it's difficult. You can't do these sort of things. So, for me, garden is always a must.
Big thing. I remember growing up, I lived in a tower block growing up, and when we moved from a tower block to a house that had a small garden, I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Specifically, I think because the garden was really, really overgrown. So to me, it was like a jungle. I felt like, you know, Jumanji, even before Jumanji kind of came out. That's how old I am. It was like a whole adventure experience for me, just moving into this. Fantastic. So one of the things I'm wondering now is where you see the future of biodiversity.
I think biodiversity is going to take off. I think it's just waiting for the sign off. I think is it due next year to come into play. But
when you say it's going to take off, what do you mean by that?
More and more councils are going to ask for it, even though when it becomes proper legislation. But to be fair, even now, most of the councils are already asking for it. But it's what percentage? I think the minimum's 10%.
So what does it mean at the moment? So break this down for people that really don't understand. So at the moment, what is the current state of play?
So I think the current state of play at the moment is for small developments. There is calculations that you have to do using the Deframetrics. I think it's version 4 at the moment. And that does a calculation, and you've got to do a betterment of at least minimum 10%.
Okay.
But I think the government is, for big, large-scale projects, are looking at increasing that potentially. But
increasing the percentage?
Yeah.
So like 15%, 20%?
I think it's probably to whatever the council want.
Okay, so the council can drive this? Is that what
their council,
right.
Rather than them setting a minimum. But I think the minimum has always been 10% betterment. Okay. But some councils haven't got that as a policy within their documentation. So some of the new planning that I've seen come through, you're like, well, there's no biodiversity net gain. And when I question the planners, the planning consultants, sorry, they're like, yeah, the council haven't got that as part of their standard policies. But more and more of them are asking for it.
And so if there was someone listening from a local authority that maybe had the ability to put that into their policy, what would you say to them?
Go for it.
Why? Because it's like hassle for them, isn't it, surely?
It's hassle for them, but then at the same time, they've got to, if they do it now, they don't have to worry about it when it comes with a legal requirement next year when the government rubber stamp it. So if they start from now and get it, they're not sort of chasing their tails. So would recommend doing it.
What difference would it make to them and their local authority?
It would make more enhancements, green corridors, attract different types of wildlife, whether it be birds, bats, or even mammals.
Okay. So when you say mammals, I'm thinking foxes now.
No, I'm thinking more dormice.
Okay.
And dormouse, water voles, all of those type of things.
Yeah.
And also your great crested newts.
Yeah.
And those basically the endangered species.
Yeah.
It's what you want to encourage. No, I don't want foxes. But yeah, foxes, you've got to manage them as well.
Well, Amit, one of the things I think would be good to do now is to go to the Demolition Zone, where we discuss a myth or something that exists that's not true. You clear it up for us and set us back on the right path. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Okay, we are back. This is a very, I would describe this as cute.
Yeah.
I would describe it as cute. Green tower with what looks like to be a roof on the top.
It effectively is. It's I've gone with a whole biodiversity net gain and green space, and I've put the hut as like a little tree. It's like a tree.
So what does it represent? What's the myth that you're looking to clear up?
So the myth for me is biodiversity net gain is not a sole individual or company's responsibility. That's sort of my myth.
So the myth is then that people believe that it's just one area.
Yeah.
Just one thing.
One person or one company.
Yeah.
That's how it's done.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's from buying the land, right through designing it, building it, and then obviously maintaining it thereafter as part of the habitat requirement. So it's a collaborative approach. It's not one person, it's the whole chain from start to finish. And you've got all the different people involved, like the regulators and the council involved in it. So it is a collaborative approach. So that's kind of my myth busting.
Good, good. So it really is not just a tick box.
No, it's not.
Deeper than that. Starts before, goes through, and then continues afterwards.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love that. Good. Well, Amit, when you're ready, in whatever manner you choose, you can now bust down that myth. Good man. Just grab it and chuck it. Love it.
Simple way. Simple way.
Amit, it's been great having you on the show today. Really appreciate your time and your wisdom. Love listening to you.
Thank you very much, Darren, for having me.
Just before you go, is there anything that you wanted to cover off that we haven't covered off?
I think the last point for me is collaboration.
Yeah. Collaboration
is key. Whatever you do, collaboration is key for success. Try doing it on your own. It's going to be difficult, but work with people. You'll get to the same goal quicker, and you can nurture and help and guide people through the way.
One last question, tricky question.
Go for it.
Ready? What one piece of advice would you give to someone listening or watching this that will make a significant impact in their life?
Go with your heart's desire, and might to go something like what I did and go real left field. Don't worry about it. If you don't do it, you'll regret it. So just go with it and try it. If you don't try it, you won't know.
Love that. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Darren.
Thanks very much. I'd like you to do me a favor, and I don't mean here just to ask you to subscribe and to follow, but what I'd really like you to do is to share this podcast with as many people as you think would benefit from it. I would love to maintain the quality of people that are joining me on this podcast, and so in order for me to do that, I really need your help. It could be somebody that's looking to get into an industry, but they're not quite sure what industry they want to get into. Maybe it's a teenager that is just finishing their GCSEs or starting A-levels. Maybe it's somebody that's doing an English degree at university but is not quite sure what they want to do with that degree. So I invite you just to share this podcast with as many people that you know so that we can grow this community, so that we can maintain the quality, engaging conversations that we're having together. Thank you for your help.